Hi, everybody. This is your host, BD, aka Bigger Than Everybody Bobby on IG, and BD underscore DIDLEY on X, aka Twitter. Welcome back. Welcome back to this week's episode. I'm here today with my co-host, Rashawn, aka Ra. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's good, y'all? I'm good. I'm doing all right. Neuronaut Zero on Instagram and Neuronaut Zero on Twitter or X, whatever they call it now. I can't keep up.
There we
But
go.
I'm happy to be here, brother. I'm happy to be here like always, man.
How was your week this week?
Whoa, the week made me wish that it was the weekend all the time. Maybe I was.
Yeah,
How about you? How about you?
it was a long week, but I got a lot done this week, so very productive. So I can't complain too much. Um,
That's what's up.
got to watch some. Got finally got to watch some TV. Got caught up on some reading. You know how I go.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So before we get too deep into it, let's make sure we get into this week's news segment with Miss Ruby Red with the three.
Well, hello, everybody. It is your favorite lunar lady, your number one news correspondent here at Concept Moon. I am the one who was chosen to bring you all of the wonderful news in our world and the one around you. Don't forget to go ahead and check our website, conceptmoon.com, like, subscribe, and also follow us on all of your social media. Sign up for that mailing list too. Now, if you've been paying attention to the cool stuff going on in the world, the one thing that is really cool is the sphere out here in Las Vegas. When I say this thing is awesome, I mean it is so freaking cool. You can see how it looks right here. I mean, just imagine you're driving down the street and you just look over and you have this gigantic eye looking at you like you're in Lord of the Rings. You're going to go crazy and lose your mind. I mean, look at how realistic it is. This is over a $2 billion project that has been going on here in Las Vegas. When they started building it, it looked so crazy. They're having shows, concerts. I mean, it's 360 immersive inside and out. That is a lot of LED and audio that they're doing in there. They're actually starting to have YouTube concerts right now. They're the first group or band to actually do that. I mean, I would get a little freaked out just from some of the stuff that they do. I mean, besides the gigantic eyeball, there's emojis. You guys saw the basketball in there. I mean, you can even see the moon from there. Like, there is a lot of really cool stuff. So definitely check it out. Another cool thing too, and make sure you go look it up. They actually just had their second advertised promo on the sphere. Like, nobody else has done this. They just did it for Mortal Kombat 1. It looks so cool. Like, I really wish I could watch somebody play Mortal Kombat on the outside of the sphere. It would be just so awesome. You definitely got to make sure you check it out. And it's even funnier though, because the one thing that me and a lot of my friends say is that, I mean, can we get a Death Star? It's the perfect shape and size. I'm pretty sure this is exactly what it looks like. So why not? I mean, this would be the perfect spot to go to for anything Star Wars. And I mean, don't lie and say you wouldn't go. Even if you like Star Trek, don't lie. Don't say you wouldn't go because I would. It is definitely awesome. Now, another thing that I love the fact of is when it is time for Halloween. So this year, my costume is going to be that good guy, Chucky. I'm so excited. If I do happen to do my makeup, I might even send you guys a video so you can see it. So make sure you keep an eye out for that and check it out. I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to, kind of get into the costume makeup since I do want to try out some cosplay stuff. So, I mean, hey, any reason to dress as my favorite character, I am definitely going to take that. So, fingers crossed and wish me luck that I do Chucky some justice and makes me want to keep on going. Now, another thing I love is to completely scare myself. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I love horror movies, scary movies, slasher films, all of that stuff. Those are awesome, especially when you have somebody watching something with you that they've never seen, and you know for a fact it is going to scare the crap out of them. I mean, it is always so funny every single time. So while you're over there chilling with your boo thing, You see what I did right there? Your boo thing. Make sure you guys definitely go and check out some of my favorite scary movies. My all-time favorite is House of a Thousand Corpses. Ooh, oh my goodness, I just rewatched that again today, and it's just then people are just so freaking crazy. The Conjuring, and I like all of those. I mean, I am literally right now watching them in chronological order of the story, not when they came out. And it is just that doll. That's all I'm going to say because I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. Is crazy. And then last but not least, Evil Dead, just to name a few. And if the world actually turned into that, just know that your homegirl is gonna be Audi 5000. You ain't gonna see me. I'm gonna be gone. But yeah, definitely hit me up in the comments. Tell me some of your favorite scary movies, any movies that you guys think I should check out, or anything like that. But now that you've been orbited by the moon, and you have all of your updates, make sure you go to our website, conceptmoon.com, follow us on all of our social media at Concept Moon. And there is a subscribe button up in that corner, I think, when you go to the website. Yeah, you know what? You can actually click on that and join. And guess what? You might even get a free comic. So if I were you, I would definitely check that out. So make sure you stay illuminated, and we will be right back after these wonderful, wonderful, and insightful stories that we have here from Concept Moon. I'll see you in a second.
Hi, I'm back again to talk to you guys about our newest project, Concept Moon Magazine. The magazine is a collection of stories, comics, mangas, and art from an amazing crew of up and coming minority creators. Each issue will include original content from both our in house creative team and other independent writers and artists. You will also find the exclusive featurette, The Anime Roundup, featuring Kasha, Mike, and Sine of the Blanime podcast, as well as several artist spotlights showing off talented artists from all over the world. This issue contains projects from an amazing list of contributors to include titles Ken Bogle, Concrete Comics Acolyte, Absolver, and Justice, as well as exclusive interviews with Genesis Scott, Dorfeast Jean, and the crew of Pop Stew. You can find the latest issue on our website, conceptmoon.com, and there are two ways.
Thank you for that news, Ruby. We definitely appreciate it. And RIP Captain Spaulding. Uh, so let's mosey on to the main topic today, man.
Oh, yes, let us get into it. So, as you guys know, and these two lovely gentlemen too, look at them, they ready, ready. We are going to be talking about Ahsoka. So, Rod, give me just a general, your personal general review of this first season. Let me hear it from you. Give me a recap of how you saw it.
Yeah, well, my initial watching of the show, I enjoyed it for the most part. I give it 3 moons out of 5. Uh, my favorite parts of the show were everything were featuring Ahsoka. Whenever Ahsoka was there, I felt like I got more of the Star Wars lore that I love. I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
got more of There were little things that between the Clone Wars and the fall of the Jedi and the fall of the Republic, the Galactic Republic, that she's filling in some gaps that she's filling in here and there, and I like that. So I enjoyed it. There was some characters I could deal without, but for the most part, as a series about her, I like focusing on her, and I hope they keep doing more focusing on her. So, Beatty, how you felt about it?
I don't know. I think I might be a little harsh to you. I gave it 2.5 moons out of 5.
Okay.
I think really that just sums it up. The show was really kind of average to me. As a person that's coming in, I've read the books. I didn't watch like Knights of the Old Republic. I didn't watch Rebel Wars. Yeah, I didn't. Or so I
The
didn't
Rebels,
have.
yeah.
I didn't watch Rebels. Excuse me. So I didn't have the same, I guess, tie to the characters that other people had, and just
Hmm.
kind of coming into it. Yeah, it just didn't. It didn't. I thought it was good, but I thought that the casting was probably 10 years too late.
I can agree with that. I probably wouldn't be as low on the rating, but I'd probably be a little closer to Rock with the 3, just because,
Yeah.
like you said, when she was there, that's what I wanted to see. So when they gave that to me and they gave me enough of it, I was satisfied when it came to that. So let me ask you guys a couple more questions so we can understand your moon ratings that you have for this show.
Yeah, let's get it.
Now, when it comes to, let me see, how can I say this? What inspired the decision, would you say, to create this standalone series to focus on Ashoka? What unique elements does her character bring to the Star Wars universe? I mean, Dee Dee, like you said, you haven't watched every single thing with her in it, but at the same time, there's clearly a reason why she has this show. So, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh man, absolutely. So as far as the character goes, Ahsoka herself is a great character. I don't want to take away from Ahsoka as an individual character at all. I even without knowing some of the other content she's in, I know of the character and I just love the character design, the ties to the Skywalkers and all that kind of stuff. And then her ties to the Force in general. She's an amazing character, which so I can definitely see why they would want to explore her character in this, but it just I don't know. The story just kind of felt kind of flat to me. I'm not sure. When she was on screen, she just felt too stoic. Almost, she was very Qui-Gon. To me, she reminded me of Qui-Gon Jinn when I was watching it, and it was like
Hmm.
I didn't feel like she was supposed to be that stoic throughout the show, but with her being more the Jedi Master in this space and not the young apprentice, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah,
What do you think?
definitely.
But yeah, what do you think, Rashawn?
I agree a little bit. I did like the show. Like I said, I think that her character, her link, I mean, her master was the person who brought the balance to the Force, whether it was directly or indirectly. Anakin
Right.
Skywalker, so she's still a part of that legacy. And I do agree with you, Brandon. There, she was too stoic, and that was part of the that was a part of it that made it just a 3 for me, middle of the road 3 for me, because I don't want to see Ahsoka as that character, and I don't really want to see Ahsoka as a master. I want to see Ahsoka as a character who's dealing with the fallout of not only surviving Order 66, the fall of the Empire, the obvious death of her master, and that whole
Mhm.
thing, as opposed to being the master of a, to be honest, an obnoxious character in Sabine. Like, I just didn't
Oh
like that
yes,
character at all.
somebody.
I didn't
I'm
like her
glad
at all. And
her
and the,
character made me feel annoying.
I hated her. It was just like, and it's like, and what's worse is she's Mandalorian, and I'm like, oh, really? You're a Mandalorian Jedi, and you're obnoxious. Like, how do you ruin a Mandalorian Jedi? That's like the greatest idea ever. But it's like, oh no, she's obnoxious. She doesn't
And
listen. It
I was
just.
wondering that. I was wondering if I missed the mark on her just because I didn't watch Rebels, but her character, or if it was her character or
Yeah.
the actress who played her, she was terrible.
Yeah, she
Like
was just she was every annoying teenager in a show that thinks they know more than their guardian and ends up screwing
oh,
everything up. It's
you
like,
know what it
stop
reminded
doing
me
that.
of? This is
That's a
such
good
a
way to put it.
wild. You remember that show on Netflix, or it might not have been on Netflix.
Oh,
Uh,
was it, you talking about Into the Badlands?
yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Love that
Okay,
show. Love
Let's
that
pause
show,
right
man.
there.
Love
Let's
that
pause
show.
right there. So Sabine reminds me of the main character from Into the Badlands. She didn't listen to anything
Oh,
told her to do.
DK or AK or AJ, whatever his name was.
MK, whatever his
Yeah,
name
I
is, he
hated
didn't
that
listen
kid.
to Sonny at all. And I'm just like, why are you even why are you even trying to get Sonny's help if you're not gonna listen? That's exactly how
Yeah.
I felt watching Sabine and Ahsoka interact. It's like she's literally telling you, "Hey, don't do that. Hey, destroy that. Hey, do this," and you're just like, "Nah, I'm just do this
No,
other thing."
no,
I'm gonna let the
Just,
no,
bad guys
no.
have it. Like, what?
yeah, like just for the sake of plot, and it was just like, come on, man. Like you're risking the whole galaxy to find Ezra. Like nothing
Yeah.
against Ezra, but he ain't even like, come on, man. He ain't even like, who is Ezra really? So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, who is he? Like, he's not Luke Skywalker. So he's not gonna destroy. Like, what's the threat
It's
that he
not.
needs to? That only. Yeah,
Yeah, what's the big deal?
yeah.
yeah.
So I'm like,
Luke.
yeah,
I
it's
didn't
terrible.
understand that. And then
But
and
yeah,
then it was like, you know what I hated about it, and it made me. It's so modern show, right? she was so adamant to find him, and they're friends. It's like if there was a romantic link, I could say, okay, they were in love with each other. This was her soulmate, whatever, and that's why it drove her so much.
Yeah.
Or I
Yeah.
guess if he was her Jedi master, but it seems like that's Ahsoka's role by
Right.
some degree. He
You know
wasn't
what it
even
is?
that.
It's the power of friendship.
Right.
Oh, the power of friendship will save me. I think
This is
you did say
America,
something
buddy.
about that.
That doesn't work.
Because when he shows up, he's like, "Oh, thank you for showing up." Like he just knew she would show up like 20
Right.
years later. Which again, Rashawn, you know a little bit more than me, baby. How long from Rebels to the beginning of Ahsoka? Like how much time passed?
It had to be because Rebels is takes place. Rebels is like taking place during, I guess, Return of the Jedi, like around there. I've always imagined, or like so. Order
Mhm.
66 happens. A new, a new. It has to have like 20 years, maybe 15 years post, because Rebels takes place like on the undercurrents, if I remember correctly, of like Return of the Jedi, like when they're doing that whole, fall of the Empire is taking place.
Correct.
You know,
Because obviously that happens. So Vader he's not fully Vader in Rebels yet.
I guess not.
No,
I
not
feel like I
necessarily.
saw an
Yeah.
episode where he didn't have his helmet,
Mm. So yeah,
but
he's
he
still
had the.
regular Anakin, like so figuring out whether or not he wants to go one way or another. And so, but okay, so that does lead me to one of the things I did love about the show. The best part about this show is that they finally explored some of like the mystical things, mysticism outside of just the Force. To me, that
Ooh,
was some of
yeah.
the best
Yeah, they
elements
did.
of the show, like
They
the
did.
non-Jedi stuff. Isn't
Oh
I think
yeah.
it's kind of weird now as we get deeper into the Star Wars lore how originally it was so focused around the Jedi, but the deeper and
Hmm.
deeper you get into it, they don't even have the best stories within the universe, really.
No, no.
That is
I
true.
think
That is true.
I think looking. I mean, I assume that the witches of Dathomir
Mhm.
are and the Night Sisters, the Night Brothers, that's Darth Maul's people.
Yep.
I assume that they're a fairly more new creation, so they're probably
Mhm.
more well thought out. But even like
Well,
with the Mandalorians, though, even their
oh,
lore, their whole clan and their different
That will.
situations
Yes.
is
yeah,
that's a whole different thing. That it's like, oh, like how come we weren't told about these stories? How come we didn't know about this culture? You know.
right.
Uh, but
Um,
Yeah,
I
that
think
is definitely
the
true.
focus on Jedi was more so a focus on Skywalkers than it was anything
correct.
else, to be honest. Because it was like, okay, this is a family of Jedi, so we're
And
gonna
at the end
follow
of
that
the day,
path.
the Star Wars trilogies were focused around the Skywalkers, and then I think
Right,
that's why
right.
the
Yes.
I think that's why the recent trilogy failed so much because there's no Skywalkers in it, and there's a whole storyline after in the Fate of the Jedi storyline, the trilogy that
Right.
goes unexplored. They kind of ignore that it exists.
Yeah, they kind of
And
leave it in the dark.
so, but getting back to Ahsoka though, I think, yeah, listen, I love me some Rosario Dawson. So like please don't see this and like, don't ever want to rock with Concept Moon. But it's like I think she was 10 years too late, man. To me, her movement was stiff, like she just was slow moving. Ahsoka was it just watching her as Ahsoka did not excite me the way I thought
Mm,
it would. Watching some of the clips and stuff from Rebels and Clone Wars and things like that, some of the Jedi fighting that I saw, and I was excited. Even with going back into video games, like when you're playing with Star Killer, like some of
yeah,
the things
Force Unleashed.
she's able to do with the Force. I thought and I know she's one of the most. She is literally the light being. Like she represents the whole light side of the Force,
Mhm.
and her fights are kind of lackluster.
Yeah,
Mm.
that was something I agree with. When I used to go see Star Wars with my dad, one of those lightsaber fights, Clone Wars wasn't a great movie, but we all
Mm.
saw that Yoda versus Count Dooku fight, and we're like, "Whoa, what is this? He's cutting it like that."
Yes.
Was like that excited you. You know what I'm saying? When we see Darth Maul, Phantom Menace, I don't like Phantom Menace particularly, but when we see Darth Maul with the two dual lightsabers, and then they he lights them both up, and it's like, oh crap, like you get excited. This show,
Mhm.
for some
Yes.
reason, the duels and things didn't really excite me. They didn't. It wasn't. I didn't have that same
Mm.
feeling, and maybe because it was a show, maybe because it wasn't a big movie, but it didn't feel like the that level of grandeur that you see these two people, Sith and Jedi, are gonna duel. It used to be a big event. Now it's just like, okay, whatever, you know.
Yeah, that is true. I can definitely agree with you on that one. Because yeah, when you watch the lightsaber battles going back and forth, like you said, it looks really cool, but at the same time, it's just, it's just a fight. It's not. I could have saw something better, but the story could have been better. That type of thing. Because yeah, I'm not really a Clone Wars super fan, but I mean, I watched it because I had to.
Right.
Now, when it comes back to Ahsoka, with some of the stuff that you guys mentioned, there's honestly, I only have a couple more questions for you because you kind of touched on everything. So with us talking about this and having people who have never seen it before, people who have seen it before, which VD, I'll ask you this question first. When it
Okay.
comes to because I know you said you like Rosario Dawson, so I'm not going to put you on too much blast. But when it comes to the envision that they have for this show, would you say that it is going to continue and actually be embraced as a real part of the Star Wars franchise? Because it is live action, so
Mhm.
that stuff gets taken in a little differently. So, from your review and how you saw it, do you think that this could possibly be, you know, a main character or a main topic in a movie?
Well, I don't know about a movie, but I definitely want to see season two. Um, it definitely left me wanting to see more with the direction they were going, and knowing what you know about what Thrawn and just kind of the greater Star Wars universe in general. I love that. One thing I loved about Ahsoka, so because I've been getting on my girl all real heavy. One thing that I did love about it is that she really comes across as like a great Jedi, and it was almost, now I know a lot of times there's been a debate about whether or not the great Jedi were actually canon or not canon, and we'll get into that when we start talking about some of our favorite Jedi later. But
Yeah.
um, I love that she was represented at it, and you could tell with what she was wearing, like the how her transition earlier in the story is more of a gray to when she has her moment in the world between worlds with Anakin, and she comes back after that. She's wearing the white, and she's more a brighter figure in the story. I love that transition for her. I think that the characterization of Ahsoka, they did an excellent job with. Is just I don't know. It just seemed like there was not enough. There just wasn't enough meat on the plate for this one. It seemed like it should have been maybe 4 episodes, 5, maybe 6. Eight just seemed
Oh,
8 seemed like it was too long.
like they dragged it out just a little bit, just a little too
Yeah.
long. They could have stopped it a little bit. Well, let's see here. Now, Ra, I have one more question for you, and then I'm going to get to my favorite question after this. From watching the show, looking into it, paying attention, you've seen some of the other stuff when it comes to Ahsoka. Did you notice any Easter eggs or references, any hidden details that we should let our fans know about so they can look out for it when they get to watching it?
That's a good question. I mean, probably that the Empire is still their people for some reason still loyal to the Empire. I have no idea why. Um, but I mean that's the thing. Like, there's some stories in the comics and other things that explain why people joined the Empire after the Clone
Mhm.
Wars, and we're like, oh, this is. But that, I think for me, that's the biggest thing, because if you're coming from it like, okay, if you didn't watch the shows, you didn't read any comics, you didn't read anything else between that, and you just watched the movies or the adaptations of the original trilogy, you would just think that, oh, the Empire is evil, so why would anybody miss it?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
there were other aspects to the Empire that uh don't that the movies and the main trilogy did not go over,
Mhm.
that as the greater canon expanded, and as the years went on, they kind of expanded on different viewpoints. So I
Yeah.
think that's, to me, one of the
Yeah.
biggest things is like, okay, why is there anybody loyal to the Empire? And you'll see it in the show. It's literally people saying for the Empire, dying for the Empire, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
What for what
I'm
reason?
not gonna
But
lie to
they're
you. I would probably be in the Empire. I would probably be a Sith Lord. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys.
well,
Either I'd be a
okay.
gray Jedi or I'd be a full on Sith. Yeah, the Sith have better equipment. They're more okay. So let's start talking about. Can we get into this real quick? One thing I always just did not like about the Jedi's, they wanted you to be so emotionless, so detached. That like having emotions makes you like a Sith. Like you know what I'm saying? Like so, you just
Yeah,
being normal.
there was never
So it's
any.
Well, they
like
don't want
that's
you weak and vulnerable.
like it's so is the idea of it is to me just kind of is a bit it's a bit simplistic when you really get into it, but that's why I love how they kind of expanded the universe with some of the Jedi that would challenge the ideologies and the different stances of it. Like Qui-Gon, again, we mentioned him earlier. He's to me he's one of
Quinlan
the
Voss. Yeah,
yes, Revan, come on.
yeah,
Like so it's like I think that there's so many ways that they can attack that balance of it because in the most simplistic form, essentially anything overly emotional would be falling onto the dark side.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for some reason, that also blinds all of them from realizing that they were working with the Sith Lord. Don't know how, but it did.
Yeah, I don't know
They
how
didn't
that
realize
works.
it.
How do you not figure out that you're working for an evil person? That's
Right,
like
Yeah,
for a
there was no
dictator.
red flags in there anywhere. Like you didn't catch on to anything. Like you you didn't
yeah,
see
And
any of this happening.
weird vibes. Like I know when I'm around somebody crazy right now, and something they say something, and I can just feel their energy like
yeah, you just
ruminating.
say, oh,
It's like I'm not even a Jedi, and I can feel their energy. So
yeah.
I'm like, how do
Yeah,
you?
like ooh, like oh no, like yeah, there was no red flags for them. That was the funny part to
Could
me
y'all
too.
just
Yeah, when
not
you start to think
care?
about
It was. I'd
it,
be
right?
like,
Like
how powerful was Yoda? Because he just was like, oh well, we just working with this dude, bro. Like,
Right.
and you know what's weird? When you look at the holograms, the projections, it's like that kind of look and sound like Palpatine. What's going on
Like,
here?
come
Like,
on. Like y'all never seen him before?
yeah, like some should have been like
y'all didn't know.
nobody was like, yo, this don't seem familiar to y'all. Did they throw that guy out? Like, nah, get out of here, bro. You a liar. Like, nah, we
Like
can't. What?
that's one thing
Like
I
the
never
shoe.
really fully understood. I mean, that's a whole different kind of wormhole to
Yeah.
fall in.
So let me give you guys my favorite question. I mean, you kind of already answered it. I don't even know if I should expect an answer from VD because you're clearly on the dark side. But I mean, who is your favorite Jedi, and what is your favorite era of the Star Wars universe?
Well, look, my favorite Jedi period is Darth Revan. Revan, you know,
Okay.
the ultimate gray Jedi. He balanced. He's one of the few people I feel like truly balanced both sides of the Force. Period. Right. So it's like he gotta be number one for me. As far as eras though, I don't know, man. I think I got to go with the original trilogy. Obviously, I think that's my favorite era of Star Wars. It's just
Oh man, yeah, I was just like in awe, like, oh my God, like what is this magical world that's happening? Like, is this really space? Like I thought aliens were some other crazy stuff, but then this made me want to go be, in space for that reason. Like I just didn't, yeah.
some people base their idea of what aliens look like off of Star Wars. Like that's how influential it
Yeah.
is. So it's like, yeah, that the original trilogy is always going to be it.
Yeah, because before Star Wars, I think Ross said something about that last week. Like he used to watch the Sci-Fi Channel, and the storm would have a face, and the monster would be half of a fish and a boy. So yeah, I think Star Wars kind of opened up a little bit of a path for some imagination. So Ron,
Yeah.
who's your favorite Jedi? What's your favorite era?
Anakin Skywalker is my favorite Jedi. Anakin and Darth. Since the new canon and everything, I've read the Darth Vader comics and just seen his post like right after the fight with him and Obi-Wan and him turning into Darth Vader and just him going through that stage and seeing that and like him the desire to kill off his old self. There's a lot of internal things going on.
Some emotion going on.
Yeah, inside of Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader. My favorite era, it's the original trilogy. I don't think there's I really don't think there's any, better, like in terms of setting up a universe, and what a story could be and iconography. It's the original trilogy. You see that Star Destroyer chasing after the Rebel carrier, and it's like, what am I into now? It's like you said, Ruby. Like, what is this world? Like, it's literal. I know this word gets used a lot, but it's epic. It is the epic movie.
Yes.
It's the epic
Even
trilogy.
even the word crawl at the beginning of the movie, like,
Yeah, oh my goodness, iconic.
Because yeah, I mean, I have loved Star Wars since the first day I watched it. I didn't even know what it was. So when I figured out, like, oh, this is a thing, like people actually like this, I would probably say, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Ron on this. My favorite Jedi is Anakin in Darth. I mean, he had a lot going on. My homie had so much stuff going on, but he still came through, and he was a boss through the whole thing.
Oh, speaking of Anakin, though, I do love how they kind of gave him a bit of redemption in this show, in the Ahsoka show.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yes, make sure y'all watch it because he's in there.
Yeah, they really gave him like some real space to kind of operate, because you don't really, for the people that only watch the movies,
Right.
you really go from young Anakin to Darth Vader, and then it's like you don't really know what he was like too much as an adult. So I like that they expanded more on that and showed what kind of master he was and showed what kind of person he was before the turn.
It also makes me wonder, especially when he met her in the World Between Worlds, if Ahsoka and Anakin had not been split up in Revenge of the Sith, would he have trusted Palpatine? I don't know that he would have.
That's a great question.
I think she could have been like, yo, well, we can't do this. Like, I know, because the whole problem was what? His mother got killed by the Tusken Raiders, and they were like, nah, you can't do nothing about it. You can't do anything about it. And he's like, what do you mean? They killed my mom.
That's my mom's, fam.
It's my mom's, yeah. Like, I think that if Ahsoka was there, because Padme had her own thing she had to do, and I understand that. But I think if Ahsoka was there, and I don't think, to be honest, I don't think Obi-Wan had the ability as an older brother to be there for him. He had just lost his master. He's like, I was a Padawan a year ago.
Yeah, he was going through his own thing.
Yeah, like they both needed Qui-Gon, because Qui-Gon had enough. He was so skilled in the way, but he was also forward thinking enough to say, no, this kid with all these emotions, we can still do something with him. We can still mold him. We can teach him how
we can still work with him.
Correct. Right. And it's like when they lost him, Anakin's all hope for Anakin was gone.
Well, I think that's why I said I wonder if Ahsoka, because I think Ahsoka is Anakin's Robin to his Batman. I think she would have stopped him from going into that darker place. Like, Master, you can't do this. Like you can't. I understand it hurts, and I'm here for you, but like, why would your mother want you to do this? Well, Qui-Gon, that kind of thing. I think she could have pulled him back, especially because, again, Obi-Wan was not there. He couldn't be there.
Right. And I think that's an interesting point about how they have to go back as they build stories out, because obviously Ahsoka was added after the original trilogy.
Right.
Created. So it's like they kind of handcuffed. They were handcuffed with what they could do with her character based off all the events that already happened with Anakin. But imagine if they would have had her planned out from day one.
Right.
That's a completely different kind of story arc when you start thinking about it from a writer's perspective like that.
Yeah.
And so that's the beautiful part about worlds like this, where it's so expansive, but you also understand like that you can only really build on certain things. So that's, again, I think going back to our point previously, that's why shows like Mandalorian and all that stuff was so great, is because these are pieces of the universe that have not been mined yet, and nobody has a million theories about what's going on there. The sad part about Ahsoka is that, to me, the best part about Ahsoka is not Ahsoka. And I know that that's the terrible part, but at the same time, using her as a conduit to explore all of these extra things is what makes the show.
But it hurts her character a little bit, because she's forever tied to who her master is, who his family is, and what his story is. So she can only go but so far in certain instances.
Oh, did you catch the little Easter egg at the end of, I think, episode 6 or 7? The little owl that she saw.
Oh yes,
that owl represents her connection to the light side of the Force.
Yeah,
she the daughter of their
right? Yeah, I was gonna say the sister, but the daughter.
So I thought that was a very interesting little nugget, because again, as a person that I kind of skimmed through the cartoons. I'll just say that that's the best way to put it. I thought that they tied it together I think that was brilliant. So how do you feel about the Balin. Is that how you say his name? Balin Skull.
Oh yeah, you know, he was really kind of a lukewarm villain or lukewarm antagonist.
He wasn't really all the way villain. He wasn't really all the way Sith. He wasn't all the way
He was
Jedi.
like right there.
Because he was like, oh, it's a shame that the Jedi are gone. It's like, word? Like,
is it though?
Like for real?
Like, aren't you a Sith? He's like, yo, if the Jedi would have won Order 66, I would have still be down with them. Like,
but he's not a Sith. If you notice now, he's like his lightsaber isn't even red; it's just dark orange.
Right.
Like, so that's how they made him like his own thing. Like, what is that?
Yeah, well, that's a good. Maybe we're getting some gray, but I think also something that interests me about Balin is that he's like, I'm doing this for the greater good. I'm wondering if. So this is expanded universe stuff that hadn't come out, but we all know that the race that Grand Admiral Thrawn's people were fighting, his people, the Chiss, were fighting the Yusavong, the Vong. The Vong are in the original expanded universe. They're force resistant. You can't even track them with the force. Like you can't. They can't be mind controlled. They can't be sensed. Nothing. And they nearly destroyed an entire galaxy. So I'm wondering if that's the thing that they're talking about. That he's like, oh, like Grand Admiral Thrawn's people have been fighting these things for years and holding them off. So I'm wondering, he's like, yo, like I know we don't like the Empire, but this guy's the only person who's gonna stop this invasion. But then that also is a problem because you can't have an entire galaxy invading you and then jump to the Force Awakens trilogy and never talk about that. So maybe it's not. I don't know.
See, I don't know. I was trying to figure out the Norse mythology references with his character and his apprentice Hati, because you know that Skull and Hati are the wolves in the Norse mythology. You know, not getting
Ragnarok, right?
But it's like, wonder what that tie is to those two things, and so I'm gonna have to probably go back and watch it again. So maybe on my second watch, I'll give it a higher rating, maybe. But right now,
see how many more moons it'll get.
Yeah, there's just too many things that I don't fully understand. Now, what we need to do is get somebody that's like super caught up on Rebels and everything. And maybe they have a completely different like viewing, you know. So I don't want to knock it too much. It's 2.5 tentative.
Man, I just love Star Wars. I could just sit here and just be in heaven. I'll just listen. You don't even need me anymore. I'll just sit here and listen. I don't even You got your own questions to ask. Y'all can just go back and forth. I'll just sit here and listen and be in complete love the whole time. But yeah, I can agree with you, Brandon. I would definitely probably have to go back through and watch again because my rating is at like a 3.5, just for visual stuff, a lot of the story and stuff. But it could possibly get 5 moons for me for a review, but I would have to go back and take a look at it again. So
I'm the rookie judge. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're Simon. It's okay, you know. If we had to put some names on it, I'm just saying. But so coming up, we have my homie Rock right here. He is going to be doing a review for us this time around. It is going to be Daredevil issue 2. Now, the wonderful thing about this, I don't know if you guys have actually looked into any Daredevil. I'm talking to my fans out there, but it is more than just that. You know, the blind guy you see in the movies, and it's just kind of underrated for the most part. When you actually get in depth into it, there is a lot more to it than you really think there is. And Ra is going to break that all the way down for you and make you want to go read it, rewatch, and re-rate everything that you didn't heard about Daredevil. I promise you.
Just not the Ben Affleck version.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that later. There was script issues. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But
it was.
I definitely can't get into that. Thank you, Ruby. We'll get into the
Issue 2 of the new Daredevil series is out now, and of course, we gotta talk about it. When we first left the City Saver's son, he was a priest and not a lawyer, but still Daredevil, which is odd because Electro didn't want him to walk back into the cycle of violence, which he has. And not only has he's enjoying it, which, I mean, yeah, Matt enjoyed it before, but I thought the entire purpose of this new run was a new start. Speaking of starts, his time as a priest managing an orphanage seems to be getting off to a bad one. as some social media account seems to be slandering the name of the orphanage and claiming that he's using teenage criminals for nefarious means. In truth, this new run seems a little aimless. I don't really know what I'm supposed to be getting from this. Yeah, him being the manager of an orphanage makes sense given his upbringing, but I just would have liked something different from Matt at this point in time. I mean, he went to hell, he saved his best friend, he saved his father figure from the beast, and now he's right back to doing the same thing that the love of his life tried to protect him from, which was not having peace. So, I'm probably one of the only fans who didn't like this opening run. I just couldn't get with it. I kind of want something new for my heroes, especially heroes that I grew up with. But until next time.
All right, Rod, thank you so much for giving us that insight on Daredevil. I told you, you're going to want to go back, reread everything, re-see everything. I mean, don't listen to BD. You can watch the Ben Affleck version. It's not that bad, but I mean,
Or some script issues.
see, that's a nice way to put it. There was some script issues. We'll just leave it at that. So what we have coming up now for you guys is our not so expert opinion special segment that we have. So we are going to go over some of our top 5 animations that we feel should be live action. So this is not just anime, this is animations in general. So all type of everything. So when we get into this, I want you guys to keep in mind as my co-hosts are explaining this. What does it look like in your brain for it to be live action? You know, the stuff that they have on their list. Would you agree to it? Or what would your list look like? So let's go right into it. Rob, go ahead and give me your top 5 for this live action list that we're putting together.
Okay, I'm gonna start with Invincible. I feel like that's kind of a given, especially given not only the network that it's on, but also its resurgence in popularity. There has been a mention that there will be a movie, but I think it could make a good TV show as well on Prime. I feel like it would be probably like a less. I'm probably gonna get stoned for this. A less corny Smallville. Um, I think it'll be a less corny Smallville. Sorry, guys. A lot of the characters are already somewhat modeled after a lot of actors. Like obviously, Omni-Man is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. So I feel like it could fit on Prime, especially because obviously The Boys is there. But it would be a little more lighthearted than The Boys. The Boys, I feel like, is like a dark comedy. There's funny moments, but it's really dark also. Whereas I feel like the Invincible, at least the comic, its inception was a superhero sitcom, and that's what I think it could be, or something similar to that. So that's my first. That's my first. I think my second is Samurai Jack. I feel like that series you'd have to do a little, maybe some CGI, especially with Aku's ability to transform. But I watch a lot of tokusatsu stuff. There's a series called Garo, which is a more mature tokusatsu, and I feel like the same effects and practical prosthetics and makeup that they use in that show are definitely a very good primer of what they could use for a Samurai Jack show. Obviously, it wouldn't be as like, it wouldn't be as far out. Some of the Samurai Jack episodes were like acid trips, but I think they could definitely deal with it. And I think, to be honest, the gentleman who played, I forget his name, who played Sonny in Into the Badlands, and played great Jack. So, I mean, that's just me. That's what I think. The third one, The Devil is a Part-Timer, which is an anime about a demon king who gets transported from our world into another world. And he ends up working at that fictional universe's version of McDonald's. And he's like, yo, it's kind of like the Kanye song Gold Digger. It's like, first he's at the grill, next he's at the fries. Like, he's like, I'm going to I'm going to become like the ruler of this world or whatever by rising the corporate ladder and becoming the CEO of this fast food chain or whatever. And it's like, oh, all right, cool. Like, he got to deal with regular life stuff. He has housemates, and one of them orders on Amazon all the time, but he's got no job. It's like, yo, bro, like,
what does that say about corporate America?
That's a good question.
Oh, it's the devil.
Hey, listen. Well, I mean, I think that the point is that if the devil thinks it's a good idea, then maybe it ain't. you know,
That's
um, So I think the devil is a part timer. Definitely, even like there's a Joan of Arc figure. She's like a holy maiden. She's is an adversary, and she works at a call center now. Like so like everybody, it's kind of like, hey, like what happens when you gotta, you dealing with something you're not, you have no magic, you have no whatever, you just gotta make it. So I gotta make it. So I think that would make a very good series because there's a lot of realism in it, and there's less magic in it. There's some, but it's less than would be necessary.
Gotta check that out.
Fourth, Castlevania, not the new one, the original series
The
trilogy.
original.
The original trilogy. I feel like The Witcher is the blueprint for that. I feel like the Witcher TV show is the blueprint for that, or the Netflix show is the blueprint for that. Just get the guy who voices Trevor Belmont, Richard Armitage. He played Thor and Oakenshield in the Hobbit trilogy. I think he's actually pretty tall, or you know, decent size. He played a dwarf, but I think he could play Trevor Belmont. I think he'd be great. I don't know. I guess you could probably get your man. What's my man's name who played Superman? Why am I blanking on his name now?
Henry Cavill.
Henry
There we
Cavill
go.
could probably play Alucard. He probably have to like lose some weight though. He probably have to get because Alucard's not brolic. Alucard's not bro. Chris
That
Hemsworth
was
might be
my
able to
only
do.
knock for him playing The Witcher. He was just too bulky to play.
Yeah, he's brolic. He's a little too brolic. But I guess in real life, if you were the Witcher, you'd have you would have to be kind of.
You gotta have a little meat on your bones.
Yeah, something. You can't just you have to be able to tangle. Yeah, I definitely think they could do a live action Castlevania show, and there's a lot of pathos and drama in it, especially with Dracula losing his wife and go through that whole thing. Like I love this woman, and the church burned her as a witch because she was studying practicing science. There's elements to
Ooh,
that with
that'd be
a
so
woman
good in
can't
live
do
action.
that, and it's a lot of stuff that you could do. So I think
I can't lie.
that's
That might be the best ones on your list so far.
yeah.
Oh,
My
wow.
last one is just for me because I like martial arts. I'm gonna choose this Baki. Uh, Listen, all right, Baki's crazy. I've read the manga. I watched the show. They got dudes walking through bulletproof glass walls. They got dudes getting their hands cut off and reattached. They got dudes punching earthquakes to stop them and killing giant, you know, Sasquatches and all that. That's fine, all right? That's okay for me. I would like to see that in
I
live
would too.
action. Just give me a guy in a monkey suit. You could have him fight, get somebody. I think that would be good. I think you could do it because if you keep the the focus on martial arts and less on like, oh, I can freaking punch a guy and a million times without him seeing it. I think you do okay. I think you'll do okay if you keep a focus on the martial arts.
They would definitely
Heavily.
have to lean heavily into like the practical martial arts of it.
Yes. So it'd probably be more like a Kengan Asura mixed with Baki, where it's like going over the technique as opposed to going over like this guy's a superhuman and he can't be killed. So that's my top five though. That's my five that I would recommend.
Loved it.
Respect.
All of it. I don't know, BD. You're gonna have to impress me because I like
Let's see
every
what you
single
got.
thing that he said. But I'm gonna have to check out The Devil is Part Timer though, because that sounded interesting. But come on,
it's
let us see what you got. Let us see what you got.
Oh man, so y'all put the pressure on me out here. So, all right, number one for me, obviously, Black Lagoon. Let me get into
Okay.
it. So Black Lagoon, first and
Okay.
foremost, it's basically made for TV. Like, come on, like Revy, Rock. Come on, man. They just made you need to see those live action. I ain't even getting into that. Imagine the gunfights. That's talking about gun food to its highest level. They could go crazy with Black Lagoon. And there's no magic, there's no super crazy stuff. The weirdest stuff in it is that the twins, the boy girl twins.
Yeah.
that get a little weird. They might have to age them up a little bit. You know what I'm saying for the live action because but it's like I can definitely see Black Lagoon number one straight up. So then probably my number two probably Your Lie in April as a newer anime. I love the music aspect of that. I love the connection that they have to the music. Um, and then the story of overcoming the traumatic loss of family. Uh,
Yes.
that's such a you don't see a lot of that. I think these days uh, that are those kind of deeply rooted stories like that. I feel like we kind of shy away from that. Need more flashy. It's a little slower. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They would really have to kind of really work that in. But I think it would be done perfectly as a live action. I could definitely see it on like a Netflix or a Hulu type of situation. Um, Number three, come on, Samurai Shampoo. What can you do? Like this one would be great. I think this would be and to throw a little bit of a spin in there. I could also see this as like one of those like 3D movies, like the cell shaded movies that they do. It could work really well with that, but I could definitely see a live action. Imagine the soundtrack on Samurai
Hmm.
Champloo live action. They could bring in
Ooh.
hip hop and mix it in a lot more, like that we wanted, that Yasuke showed them do on
Yeah.
Netflix.
R.I.P. New Javis. I think that it would. I agree. I think it would have to be done by like a Ninth Wonder or something though, soundtrack wise.
Yeah, come
I
on,
don't want to hear
night
no Metro Boomin.
Yeah,
definitely.
not at all.
Look, we can get into soundtracks all day. Like that'd be. I could definitely see some like old school Neptunes, like
Oh yeah,
lo-fi. Yeah, come
yeah,
on.
Ooh,
yeah,
yes.
Let me listen. Um, so number four, I believe I'm on. Number four for me would be Helsing, and
yeah. Mm,
kind of for the same reasons why you pick Castlevania, but just on a different side of it. I think Helsing would be a little bit. It would be a vampire story that in live action that we really don't see. Like we don't really see a lot of the vampire on vampire
mm,
battling.
Yes.
Um, we don't see it. We don't get too deep. I think they had that one live action show on like the CW a while back that was kind of cringy. You know what I mean? We're not gonna get into it.
CW is corny. Yeah.
But
Hmm.
Helsing, I think, would be a great live action show. Practical effects. It's nothing too crazy. Um, it would translate very well, I believe. And then my last one, as a bit of a just kind of throwing it in there, I think Megalobox. Megalobox
okay.
would be
Okay.
great. It would be in the vein of like a Real Steel with Hugh
Hmm.
Jackman,
Hmm.
right? But I think it would be.
Yes.
I think that would translate very well. The rags to riches, the comeuppance, all of that.
Yeah.
So definitely Megalobox will be my last one on the list. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I can see with the Hugh Jackman type of vibe to it. I mean, yeah, he does have that ability to capture that emotion, the story for stuff like that. So yeah, I think he actually be pretty good. That actually leads me into the first question for you, BD.
Okay,
When it comes to so out of your five that you chose, well, I'm
right.
not going to say pick your favorite, but whichever one you anticipate the most that you want to see in live action, who would be playing the main character that would cause it the most success.
You know who I would love to see play Rock? Jackie Chan.
Sorry.
I don't think
Who?
Jackie Chan gets enough straight man roles like that. I think he could definitely
Oh,
play Rock, like young Jackie. But I think my favorite Go and young Jackie Chan as Remy and Rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can dig it. I can dig it. So my question for you, Ra, when it comes to your favorite or most anticipated that you would like to see in live action on your list, which platform would you say would do your show the most justice if it became live action?
the show I was thinking I most would like to see is Castlevania, live action, because we just haven't had it, and there's no plans in the works for it to come out. But I think originally I was going to say Netflix, but I think Max might do a better job. HBO, or whatever they're calling
Ooh,
themselves now.
dark
I just
horse.
feel like it has more. They probably have a larger budget because I think Viacom or whatever. But I think also that they have a higher production value than some of the stuff that Netflix. Remember, Netflix was putting out some absolute garbage water for a while. Um, so I think Max would, because I imagine Castlevania in like a slightly less black leather uh underworld kind of deal. But it needs that same level of like these where these monsters don't look like CGI. Like they don't look
Right.
exactly like CGI. I liked the ambiance of Underworld.
Yes.
For the most
Yes.
part, especially the third one.
Yes,
Especially
the third one was great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
That's what I'm more
I can
thinking
see that.
about, like that Underworld 3 Rise of the Lycans kind of ambiance. That same like
Yeah.
just a lot of the times when we see these old world European shows and stuff, it's like everything's pristine or whatever. And it's like I feel like Underworld Rise of the Lycans is like everything was dirty, and it's like, yeah, Europe was dirty. Like people were taking
Yeah.
back to the street. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it was dirty back in the day. So like I think it would add that same outlaw level. I think I think HBO Max or whatever they call it now, that company has the production value and probably the budget to make a Castlevania show that doesn't look discount, that doesn't look like they skimped. And the problem with Netflix is that sometimes, I mean, especially even if you're doing CG, that part of animation, Netflix has had. I love Seven Deadly Sins, and some of that animation in Seven Deadly Sins was god awful. Some of it was terrible, and it wasn't excusable. It wasn't excusable.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same thing. Max, they have the creative ability and the financial ability to do Castlevania justice. I would definitely say that. I can agree with you on that one. So I have a question for both of you. BD, I'll go to you first. When it comes to turning something into live action, if you had to pick a show or a movie that was turned into live action that you wish they would have just left it alone, what would it be?
It's Dragon Ball Z. Like, why? Like, why would y'all even think to try to do this and then do it this way? This is one of those things where Western culture really ruins IP. Like, just no.
The same thing for you, Rod. Is there any TV show, movie, anything that you read that they should have just left it alone when it came to the live action?
Fist of the North Star. That's a piece of garbage. That's the worst piece of garbage. You talk about Dragon Ball. Listen, at least they tried special effects. Fist of the North Star. Shin walks in and shoots his master with a gun. What's going on here? Boom! He just shoots him with a gun. The movie, the special effects when he punches the guy in his jaw, it looks terrible. It's like this is fake. It looks like a fun house.
Can I give a bonus?
What? What's that?
The Avatar: Last Airbender. That movie.
I was gonna bring that up, but I don't think. Here's the thing. I don't know if that show doesn't need a live action or didn't need a live action from him. I don't know if that was the case.
It might have just been him.
Sometimes it could be the person. It could just be the person who adapted it, and they don't get the material. They don't care about it.
They don't have that proper vision either. Yeah, sometimes they'll just miss it. Because like Airbender, I don't think it didn't need a live action like you said, but maybe it just didn't need it from him. I'm pretty sure if we could have got a different director, some other producers and stuff like that wanted just to give it that real feel, just like the cartoon gave you, I'm pretty sure that would have been off the chain. I mean, I can see it in my mind, because if they can do stuff like this with, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and then you have One Piece and stuff that just recently came out. I mean, there's so many different types of things. You got Blade. I mean, I'll even say Twilight, for instance. I was so mad when they said they were making that a movie. Like, don't do that. And then it turned out wonderful. So it really just depends on the mind that it comes to reinvent everything, and then it will turn out good. It will turn out good. Here. So I have one more question for both of you guys to kind of wrap up our not so expert opinion. When it comes to the lovely list that you gentlemen provided to us, I have a question about a show. So for Rock, when it comes to Samurai Jack,
Hmm.
if you had to pick the the main character
Hmm.
and the music producer for the show, who would be the two people that you would pick that would you think would do it justice? Because yeah, when it comes to the soundtrack on something, whew,
Hmm.
it can that can be hit or miss and make a movie. It really can, or even a TV show.
So for me, it was like I said, the main character. I think I would pick the guy who played Sonny, whose name escapes me. I'm sorry, but yeah, Daniel Wu, I think definitely would do a great job as Jack. The music producer for me, Ludwig Göransson. I loved him
Ooh.
producing Childish Gambino stuff. I
Yep.
loved him
Oh yes,
doing the Black Panther soundtrack. I think
Yes.
he's good.
yes.
I think he can. I think he has an ear where it's like we need you to capture this, and he'll be like, "All right, I got you." Like I think he's good. I think he's really good. So
I think so too. Yeah, definitely a good point. So, BD, when it comes to you, the show I have for you is going to be Helsing.
Oh, so for Helsing, man, that's
it's a
a
tough one.
good
Hey, you
one.
picked it.
Can I say Hugh Jackman? No, that's
Clearly,
no.
someone
Already
having
done
a
that.
session.
I would say Luke Wilson as a, I would like to see him as a take another turn as at a vampire movie. He did such a
Yeah,
good job with Dracula Untold.
True.
It it that movie to me just it came out at the wrong time. I think
it did.
people were kind of vampired out at that point,
Ah,
and it kind
yeah,
of
there was a
missed.
lot of stuff going on in the vampire world.
Uh,
Yep.
Also,
but
they
as,
tried to do a Universal Monsters universe at a time, and I don't
yeah,
think that was the right time to do that.
blame the MCU for that. They were trying to just make tied together universes out of everything, and it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, as far as the score, whoever scored Nope. I wish I could remember their name, and I'll add it at the bottom in post production. But yeah, whoever did the score for Nope, man, that score was amazing. I think actually all of Jordan Peele's movies are perfectly scored. That's one. I
Oh
think that's
yeah.
one of the things that we don't talk about enough about his movies.
Nope. The my first initial thought of Nope was this is so weird. Like this is just such a weird movie. But I mean, when you really watch it, like you said, the soundtrack it really made it. The score on that, if it wouldn't have been so good and engaging, I probably would not have watched that movie. So I will definitely say I could agree with you on that one. Now, as we talk about all this live action stuff, we getting into characters and things like that. I have a character question for you, DD.
Ooh,
Who
is it that?
is Stringer?
So let me tell you about Stringer. Stringer is Ford City's resident vigilante. She's been active for a few years, protecting the weak from the wicked. As a youth, she was caught up as part of a human trafficking ring in Ford City, and she eventually fought her way to freedom, killing her captors in the process. But unfortunately, due to how the system is, she was sent to prison. While in prison, she caught the eye of Stokely Snow, who trained her to protect herself while she was there. Eventually, she was freed by her best friend and partner, Element. Scarred by tragedy and loss, she uses her skills and a plethora of tools to protect those in Forest City that go unprotected and unnoticed, like a certain Dark Knight. And as always, stay illuminated.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that info. With who is Stringer? I bet you y'all know now. I mean, after DD went through all of that, whew, I'm definitely enlightened by that info. So thank you for that, my good sir.
Mhm.
So we do want to thank everybody for coming out, sitting with us, going through all of our lovely Star Wars talk. Make sure you guys check out that show, Ahsoka. Give us some feedback. Let us know what you think. And then when it comes to your favorite Jedi and your era, put it in the comments. Let us know that part too. Do you want to give a shout out to my homie Raw over here? He gave us all of that wonderful info. Daredevil issue 2. Definitely go ahead and check that out. Like I said, your brain is gonna make you rethink everything that you thought you knew. I mean, just go ahead and check it out. Don't even hesitate. Ain't no reason to. Now, in our not so expert opinion, we did get into some really good stuff when it comes to that live action. Some of this animation, it is so crazy. Unfortunately, this week I was a little more towards my homie Rod instead of BD. I mean, he just picked the better options, of course. I mean, it happens sometimes, but I mean, I still love you. I still love you. I still love you. So make sure you guys go to our website, conceptmoon.com, and check out all of our library, everything that we have, all the merchandise. You can get that shipped directly to your house. Sign up for our mailing list too. That subscribe button is right there in the corner on the website. And guess what? You watch this on YouTube. It's right there in the corner too. You know, you could just, it's right there. You can just click on it right there. Yep, that's all you got to do. And you in there. So before we let you go, make sure that you guys follow me on all of your social media platforms. Ruby Red Skirt, red is spelled with a 3. BD, where can we find you at on social media?
Yep, you can find me at Bigger Than Everybody Bobby on IG and BD_Didley on X. That's BD_Didley on X. What about you, Rob?
You can find me Neuronaut0 on IG and X, right? Not Twitter, whatever they call it. Neuronaut0 there as well. I'm also at Lawful Evil Comics everywhere else. So thanks.
All right, well, thank you so much, everybody. Make sure you guys come and check us out next week. We got some really hot topics to go over. And like I just mentioned, you know, it's spooky season. Go watch that movie with your boo thing. It'll give you a reason to get cuddled up. Other than that, I mean, it's a good time. But to let you all go, within the moon,
Everything's
illuminated.
Hey.
See?